Hello everyone, welcome back to another contrast paint video, and today we have for you a miniature from the DC miniature game again. Last time we did Superman, so it's only fair that we do the first one to successfully take Superman down. This is Doomsday. His comic book appearance, his more modern comic book appearance, not like the version in Batman v Superman. Let's just not think about that version of him. So, we're going to be using contrast paint for basically all of him, bar the inside of the base, which I'm just going to use for the same style as the Andin Studio Army, so kind of like a lava stone kind of look. We're going to go with that. It's going to be, well, first of all, I want to just show you the official paint job for Doomsday, because this is it, and you see he's kind of got like a maroonish skin tone. I was looking for some source images on Doomsday from the various comics, and I have seen the animated movie of the death of Superman as well, and I was like, isn't he grey? Because he's not grey in the Knight's Model's paint job, and he is grey. So I'm going to ignore the official paint job this time, and we're going to get a massive use out of Basilicum Grey, which is not in focus. There we are, Basilicum Grey. And the first step is we're basically going to go over all of him with the Basilicum Grey. It's going to take a while to dry, so there'll probably be quite a few stops in between. We're going to use some warp lightning for his tight panties, and then once that's all done, we're going to use just the Grey Seer again, which I forgot to mention he is based in, to kind of go over the bony parts that poke out of his skin, and then that's going to get a treatment of skeletal horde, I think. Same with the horns on his face. He's got a little kind of like jockstrap thing. I think that's just going to be silver, or yeah, maybe silver. We'll see. I'll decide on that later, but the main part is this is going to be Basilicum Grey's chance to shine. I've only ever used it for like small rock type areas for the most part, so it's never been applied to such a large model. So, to get started, big coating of this, then it's going to have to dry for a long time. Then we'll probably do the pants and the bone at the same time, but we'll see how it looks to start with. So without further ado, let's get on with things. So our first check-in, here's how the Basilicum Grey is looking, and contrast paint really excels when there's lots of little crevices to get into all the nooks and crannies, and Doomsday has a very, I don't know what he's meant to be made of, he's super resilient. I'm not sure it's meant to be muscle, but whatever it is filled with little bits for paint to get drawn into, and as a result it creates a very nice looking, almost rock, almost metallic, almost muscle finish, which is exactly what I was looking for. After stopping the time skip, I just quickly applied some black Templar contrast to the strap just to make it highlighted a little bit, and literally just one daub of Mephiston red on the eyes there just for now. I wanted it to bleed a little bit while it was still damp. I'm not sure if it actually did, but hey, that'll have to do. So this is going to take a while to dry. Also, apologies for the lighting again. It's going to be like this for the winter season, which starts like July in Scotland, so unfortunately it's what I have to work with. What we're going to do is give it like half an hour at least, probably a bit longer than that. Use some Grey Seer to touch up the shorts so that I can apply warp lightning with relative safety, because if it's fully dried and say any of the warp lightning green does bleed, it'll be easy just to quickly dab the paintbrush in the water and clean it up before it sinks in too badly, at least in theory. Whether or not we'll be able to do all the bone at once in the same time skip, I'm not sure. Between this and the next time skip, I'm just going to give a light dusting of Grey Seer over the parts where it's going to get done in Skeletal Horde. Not going to fully coat it so it's all super smooth, because I kind of want the grey to be seen through it, because it's kind of like he's got these spikes and bony parts growing out of him, like on his kneecaps, on his shoulder blades, obviously the horns on each side of his face, a little bit down the wrist as well. It's kind of, even it goes into his leg a little bit there, so it's kind of all over the place on his back as well. So I want it to have a little bit of the grey So just a little bit of a dusting with Grey Seer so that the skeletal horde is picked up. We'll see if we do that in the same time skip, or we'll just maybe do the Warp Lightning. Either way, this has got to sit for a little while, so I'll be back with you in a second. So very much still got a lot of drying time to do, but here's the contrast parts basically done, besides again them setting and drying and whatnot. Rather than use Warp Lightning, I decided at the last minute to use some more Militarum Green. My thinking behind that was the Warp Green, or Warp Lightning Green, is just so vibrant, it would be too bright, at least in my head. Militarum Green is another one of those contrast paints where it pulls on the bottom. I had to sit and shake it for ages and it's still got a little bit of like a weird highlight of the pigment down there. And as a result, I think it's another one of those contrast paints that after you open it, it just does not set well. Also, apologies for my dog yawning at me. Am I that boring? Yeah. So, that is the Militarum Green on his Hulk-esque underwear. It might look better once it's fully dry, I don't know. So, we'll do a quick cut here to the finished mod. I'm going to do the base now as well, which takes a while, but that will give the contrast paint plenty of time to dry, so we'll get a proper look at the finish of it. So back in a second. And so sometime later, here we have the finished Doomsday. I apologise for the appalling lighting, but this base style, as you might have heard from the previous times I've done it, takes a long time for the, what is it called, Modern Earth to crack. It still hasn't been finished, and that's 2 hours or so later, so it's as long as I could wait. I'm positioning my head very expertly to stop a sunbeam just doing this. I don't know if that's better or worse, honestly, but I can't see the preview picture, so I have to kind of leave my head where it is. But we'll give you the Ghetto 360 spin. I added some blood to the arms just to make it look like he's mid-beating someone to death. I would say that it turned out okay. The skeleton horde is a little bit jarring compared to the Basilicum Grey. Maybe a bit too jarring, but I'm not aware of any other kind of slightly paler colour. I was hoping that doing it with a little bit of the grey on would mix it together better. But I don't think it quite managed that, as I move my head again. But I think it looks okay. I think with all the grooves on the body, it really made the grey stand out. And he's probably ready to see some tabletop action, which he's going to, as he will be featured in the first DC miniature game battle report that will be getting done very, very soon. Probably the next video up after this. But because I'm dealing with very poor lighting, we'll cut this short. We'll say thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. There'll be another contrast video in the future at some point once I find something else apt to paint. I apologise again for the lighting being bad at the start of the video and being also bad but in a different way at the end of the video. I need to learn to just not bother waiting for the bases when I do this type, but it looks good when it's done. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Ta-ta for now.